Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Tuesday, August 12, 2025. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Donald Trump puts federal law enforcement on the streets in Washington, D.C., even though crime has dropped dramatically. And he also says he'll do it in other cities, including Chicago. We'll talk. We're going to show you some video of the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, as he lays into Donald Trump. Also, Texas Republicans in the Senate, Texas Democrats in the Senate walk out before a vote there. Yet two remain. So the new congressional maps passed the Senate, but of course the House is still locked out because the Democrats have left. We'll talk to State Senator Boris Miles. And man, did Texas State Rep James Tallarico totally and completely embarrass and demolish Will Cain. It has to be embarrassing for Will Cain to be that dumb, that light in the brain, and you're actually a University of Texas graduate and a so-called lawyer. Says a whole lot about Longhorns. Also, on today's show, Indiana is going to be using 1,000 state inmates to build their own immigration detention center. We see how that's going. And also, folks, in our marketplace segment, we'll talk with the owner of a new vitamin C skincare company who says his technology can improve your skin. Yeah, we got stuff to talk about. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser met today with Donald Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi to talk about the federal law enforcement officers and the National Guard being put on the streets in Washington, D.C. This was a social media post put out by that idiot Pam Bondi. Quote, I just concluded a productive meeting with D.C. Mayor Bowser at the Department of Justice. We agreed that there is nothing more important than keeping residents and tourists in Washington, D.C. safe from deadly crime. At President Trump's direction, the Justice Department will work closely with D.C. City Government and D.C. Police Department to make Washington, D.C. safe again. Now, we all know that's filled with lies because D.C.'s crime has been dropping dramatically. And so you got all these people who are running their mouths talking about, oh my God, how awful it is living in D.C. I've been here 15 years. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So here's some stats. Violent crime, down 26%. Robbery, down 28%. Sex abuse, down 50%. Interesting. Again, when you look at those type of numbers, you got to ask yourself the question, what the hell are they talking about? But see, you also need to understand something. Donald Trump constantly, first time he was sitting in the Oval Office, complained about how awful D.C. was. It looked awful. It was trash. On and on and on. He was doing all those sort of things. That's what he was doing. That's what he was doing. And he was saying how bad things were. And then, of course, when he ran against Vice President Kamala Harris, saying the same thing, how awful things were, how bad things were. Things were just terrible. D.C. is falling apart. How awful it is. I mean, that was his whole thing over and over and over again. So it's no surprise we see what's going on right now. But, I mean, let's just be honest. If we want to talk about crime in D.C., if we want to talk about where the most criminals are located, then we really should look no further than 2 blocks from where I sit. Because that's really the crime. That's where yellow tape should actually be wrapped around the White House crime scene tape, because that's what you have in D.C. I saw this graphic on social media. I loved it. It said heaviest crime zone in D.C. And this is what they were referring to. You see they have the White House circled. Come on, man, let's go. iPad. Thank you. Come on. I love this. They have the White House circle, because that's really what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a thug in chief. You're dealing with a twice impeached, criminally convicted felon, con man, who is raping and pillaging the country, who is selling access to the president, to the office, and guess what? Republicans are letting him do it. And so now what they're busy with, they're busy posting all their photos of black people being arrested. They claim overnight, oh my goodness, you know, all these different people who have been arrested. And then you got the likes of Jeanine Pirro, who is of course, the U.S. Attorney of Washington, D.C., who's making all of her comments. And in fact, we're going to play for one of these. I mean, so there was a news conference, and a question was asked about, okay, let's talk about crime. How do you lower crime? And here's the response of the former Fox News show host, who's a massive liar. Go ahead.
My prosecutors.
You just walked through the changes you'd like to see from the punitive aspects. What about preventative? Do you or the president plan to do anything to address the root causes of crime in D.C., such as truancy?
My job is to try to heal the victims and prosecute the criminal. Everybody else can deal with rehabilitating the individual. I honestly am not concerned about why they commit crimes. My concern is if they commit crimes. My concern is the victims of the crimes. That's my job as a U.S. attorney. Go ahead.
But just follow up on that quickly.
That's interesting. This tweet was put out that I found to be quite interesting. If you're serious about crime prevention, you don't cut $1 billion from D.C.'s budget or put language in your signature bill prohibiting the Department of Justice from funding community violence intervention and prevention initiative programs. Not that anyone will call you out for it. You see this right here? No funds made available under this subsection shall be made available to community violence intervention and prevention initiative programs. So you care about crime. So let me give y'all a peek into the empty mind of Donald Trump. Typically these conversations are off the record, but he lies so much. He lies so much that he's forfeited that. So in his first term, I was invited to 3 television anchor meetings with that idiot. I went to the first 2, did not make the third one. I had a speech, hadn't been invited to any others. So in one of these discussions, we are sitting there and they're talking about a number of issues they're talking about, okay? And in that meeting, somebody brings up Chicago. Now, what happened was he was going on and on and on and on and on. He was just going on and on and on, talking about other stuff that I didn't think was relevant. Then Chicago came up, and I was like, let's talk about Chicago. So he then begins to go on this tangent, talking about how bad things are in Chicago and how when then Mayor Rahm Emanuel came to meet with him, Emanuel was talking about education and economics. Trump goes, Rahm, this is what he says. That's not going to solve your crime problem. It's not. See, the fundamental problem for want to address the underlying problems of crime. They just want to incarcerate people. They just want to throw them in jail. They just want to lock them up. See, that's their strategy. Their strategy has always been lock them up, throw away the key. We ain't dealing with the real problem. No, they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with that. And so he then goes on to talk about how, all these things you need to do and how you need to do it, and, and just, all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, the hell is he talking about? So then he says, when we were leaving, we were going to the airport, there was this one cop. You could tell he was tough. He was tough. And he was ordering people around, and he clearly was the man in charge. And I said to my people, and he said, the guy came up to me, he says, Mr. Trump, we can fix this problem in Chicago in a week. That's all it'll take. And Trump said, he was like, I told Rahm, that needs to be your next police superintendent. And we passed his name on to the mayor. So yours truly goes, well, tell me exactly what is your plan to deal with crime in Chicago? Y'all, he gives me one word. He goes, tough. I said, I'm sorry? He goes, tough. I said, tough is a word. Tough is not a plan. Tough. And it was at that point, I had a notepad, I put my pen in it, closed it. I said, I'm good, and folded my arms. That literally was the dumbest shit I ever heard. Donald Trump, see, I need y'all to understand that exchange explains what's happening in D.C. Tough. We're going to be tough on them. Yeah, we're going to be tough. We're going to knock some head. See, that white cop, and we know it's a white cop in Chicago, what he was saying was, we can knock some heads, throw them in jail. Going to be tough. That's the plan. See, they don't ever want to talk about root crime. In fact, this morning, and y'all know I don't watch Morning Joe. Ever since Mika got in her feelings, when I talked about that reality show on sorority sisters and we blasted, you don't have to watch. After I jacked her up, they ain't invited me back since. So I ain't been back on Morning Joe since 2015. So y'all gotta understand, these white producers getting their feelings. Just like I ain't been on ABC This Week in 4 years since I cracked Governor Chris Christie. But this morning on MSNBC, there was a conversation. And it was a conversation, Joe Scarborough, Simone Sanders, and what's happening in Washington, D.C. Actually came up. And it turned into a rather spirited conversation, y'all. I'm trying to pull it up right now because I want to play about 2.5 minutes of it. It was very interesting. It was very interesting because I need you to understand, and I need y'all to be very sensitive when you hear certain things, and when you hear white people, Democrats or Republicans, when they talk about crime and oh my God, and how people are feeling so unsafe and just how hard things are. It's amazing when they start using language like that and you start going, well, exactly what are y'all talking about? Because see, they start describing like the entire city is on fire and as if there's just mayhem, and oh my God, it's going. I'm not denying there's crime, because hell, there's crime in rural America. These things are happening in rural America every single day. But you see, the response to crime by white folks is always more cops. Now, I just laid out to y'all that when we talk about crime, it's called preventative measures. Why is Baltimore's crime so low? We're going to have the mayor later this week. Baltimore's crime is down because the mayor enacted a series of policies that addressed the root cause of crime. He wasn't fixated on just sticking more cops on the street. He understood root cause. But I want y'all to listen. Listen to Joe Scarborough speak from his. First of all, let me be real clear. Joe Scarborough speaking from his white perch. I want y'all to look at the background. Joe Scarborough, first of all, his show is based out of D.C. But for the most part, him and Mika, who are married, do the show from their house in Florida. So what your ass know about Washington, D.C. every single day? Listen to this exchange.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
No, Joe, I'm a black woman in America. I do not always think that more police make streets safer. When you walk down the streets of Georgetown, you don't see a police officer on every corner, but you don't feel unsafe. So what is it about talking about places like Southeast D.C., right, Ward 8, if you will, that people say, well, we need more officers to make us safe? I think we have to rethink what safety means in America.
Well, you know, there have been black city council members in New York City when people were talking about defunding the police, saying the people we represent are the people who need police officers the most, as safety officers in schools need police officers the most, so our children can walk from their homes to school without being stopped, 5-10 times by drug dealers or people that are going to assault them. I don't think this is an issue of black versus white. When you're talking about safety, there are a lot of black Americans who don't feel safe in their homes, in their neighborhoods, and when they hear people talking about defunding the police, it freaks them out. I'm not saying that's what you're saying.
Defund the police is not good. I never supported defund. I think you're making a good point, Joe. I want to be able to call the police in my neighborhood. When they come, I don't want them to think that I'm a suspect. But what we're talking about is that the President of the United States is saying that there is a crime emergency in Washington, D.C. An emergency could be anything that he says it is. So from his definition, maybe there is. The data would say otherwise. But the issue that people keep citing is about the young people, the carjackings, right? The kids running into a CVS and taking things out the CVS. That is juvenile crime. And so how are the police officers or the National Guard going to address the issue of juvenile crime? And until we start talking about the policy, let's talk about the crime bill that D.C. passed last year that could be strengthened, right? Let's talk about that. But Donald Trump is using rhetoric and playing on the real fears that some people have because of what they've seen on the news or maybe what they themselves have experienced. And
it's not what they've seen on the news. It's not what they've seen.
That was a long conversation. But I just want you to understand how mighty uneducated Joe Scarborough is, and I want y'all to recognize how he tried to slide in defund the police. So if you go to Google and you type in defund the police, AI is going to give you an overview. And see, Joe Scarborough committed the biggest problem that we always see. This is what it says. The movement to defund the police is a call to reallocate or redirect funding from police departments to other community-based services and initiatives. And what does it say right here? Reinvesting in community-based strategies. This means shifting resources towards violence prevention and interruption, housing, health care, income support, employment, education, and other programs that address the root causes of crime and promote community well-being, limiting the scope of policing. This involves rethinking the role of police in society and relying less on them to address social issues such as homelessness, mental health crises, and substance abuse. Arguments in favor of defunding the police. Addressing systemic issues, proponents argue that police departments are often tasked with addressing social issues they are not trained or equipped to handle, and that focusing on community-based solutions can more effectively address the root causes of crime. That was what the call for defund the police was all about. But see, the right took that and ran with it, and a lot of Democrats fell in the line. And so the narrative became, get rid of cops. No. And see, when Joe Scarborough says, well, black city council members in New York City will say, our people want police. Yeah, Joe, the phrasing is called to protect and serve. When somebody black calls 911, they do want the cops to show up. But see, Joe, when black people call 911, what they don't want to happen is we end up getting shot and killed. What they don't want, Joe, is when black people call the cops, we don't want the cops to show up, beat the shit out of people. When we call the cops, we don't want the cops to show up and shake people down. See, this is how, I just want y'all to understand how white national media loves to spin this. So I'm going to issue a challenge. If any of y'all watch ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, I dare you to time, if it even comes up, how much time is spent on the root cause of crime in Washington, D.C., New York City, and other cities. Let's see if it even comes up. I put $1,000, ain't gonna come up. I guarantee you that these shows will call Mayor Brandon Scott, but they won't ask him in detail, how did you lower crime in Baltimore? They ain't gonna ask that question. They ain't gonna do that. They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna ask him, well, Mayor, how is it that you have gotten, and this was the statement that he released. Mayor Scott said when it comes to public safety in Baltimore, he should turn off the right-wing propaganda. Look at the facts. Baltimore is the safest it's been in over 50 years. Homicides are down 28% this year alone, reaching the lowest level of any year on record. We still have real work to do to build on this progress, but that work starts and ends here in Baltimore with the local, state, and federal partners who have gotten us this far. And he goes on to explain all this sort of stuff. See, y'all, Joe Scarborough don't want to have that question. Don't want to have that conversation. Because see, first of all, let's remember, Joe Scarborough's a Republican. So he ain't no Democrat, he ain't no progressive. He a white conservative, okay? So, but as white progressives, just like Joe Scarborough, think the same way. See, if you listen, Joe Scarborough, all of my friends, people hit me quietly, and they say they can't go here and go there. Do y'all actually think the white folk who hit Joe Scarborough live in high crime areas of D.C.? He was sitting talking about, people I know, they can't even go to. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna play it for you. Let me just play the silly bullshit. And of course, a Charlie Kirk retweeted this. Watch this.
You can walk 40, 50, 60 blocks in Manhattan at 2 in the morning and feel safe. And yet in Washington, D.C., I've got friends that worked in the Biden White House. I have friends that work in the media that say they don't feel safe walking 3 blocks in Washington, D.C. Why can't Washington be fixed, despite what the crime numbers say? Because people aren't feeling it.
You know, often it's the perception of being safe or unsafe that affects cities. And I think that's what's happened in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. has 3,400 police officers. They're undermanned. The National Guard will provide a presence. And sometimes that's all you need to clear a block or clear a person's mind that it's okay to walk that block. Police presence, or the symbols of police presence. So we'll see how it goes.
Do y'all actually think the white people texting Joe Scarborough can't walk more than 1 block? Do y'all know how many blocks right now where we are, we in D.C.? I have walked 8 blocks that way, 8 blocks that way, 6 blocks that way, 8 blocks that way. In the daytime, in the evening, at nighttime, at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't, oh my God, what's gonna happen? This is the bullshit that white media loves to project. In fact, they put out charts all the time that shows you where the crime takes place in a lot of y'all cities, in a lot of cities. And you know where it mostly is? Typically, it's like 2 areas of town. So what Joe Scarborough is doing is feeding right into the narrative that, oh my God, DC's on fire, you can't visit, it's terrible. Oh, the tourists, and you can't go, it's awful. You can't go to the grocery store, you can't go. That's where the feeding frenzy comes in. So Scarborough is literally sounding just like the crazy ass fool in the Oval Office. It's the exact same thing, y'all. This is the game. This is the game that they play to justify. And see, Simone was trying to be nice. Simone was, y'all, she was protecting her check. Because anybody else who, and see, that's why there's a reason why they don't call me. Because see, they want nice collegial conversations. I'm not going to have the conversations. Because if I was there, I would have said, Joe, please tell me, where do your friends live? No, Joe, don't give me general. Give me zip codes. And I would have sat there and I would have pulled up, let's pull the stats up. Let's pull the stats up in a zip code where your friends live. Let's see where the crime takes place. So we know he lying. And then Mike Barnacle, well, it's the perception. If y'all want to Google Mike Barnacle and race, he wrote some of the most racist shit in the Boston Globe you could think of. So I need y'all to understand that they have established this narrative. I need y'all to understand it's big cities, it's Democrat-run cities, it's inner cities, black. We're going to combat crime, but we're going to pull resources that can alleviate crime. So their answer is to pour resources into law enforcement, withdraw resources that prevents crime, that deals with the root cause, and then say, well, we fixed it. We cleaned the streets up because we locked up a bunch of people. That literally is their thinking. Somebody had to challenge Chicago Mayor Brendan Jackson on this, and he tried to be nice about it. Then finally, he had to go ahead and let him know exactly how he felt.
Illinois National Guard refused to follow a presidential order.
We're going to go to the next question.
Have you asked, or your administration asked them to inform you in case that they're activated by the president?
Well,
let me just be very clear. I have not spoken to the governor within the last 24 hours. I do believe that Donald Trump is intimidating.
Okay, no interruption.
So let me just answer that. I do appreciate.
Audios, please get it right. I need to hear Brandon Johnson. Please. All right. Do y'all have it? Play it.
You're the one.
Thank you.
Let's move on, please.
All right. Thank you, Ed.
Who is not keeping the people of Chicago safe.
All right, we're going to go to the next question. Thanks.
What do you say to Donald Trump? How did you feel when Donald Trump called you incompetent? What did you feel?
All right, he just addressed this. Thanks.
Please answer that question, if you would.
Okay, fine. Since you are begging, I do believe that Donald Trump is intimidated. I think you're begging.
No interruption.
So let me just answer that. I do appreciate you begging. So I will just say it like this, that the president has always been intimidated by the intellectual prowess of black men. And so, of course, he would speak in those petite and puerile terms because he's small.
Thanks.
Right?
Here's Justin.
That's how you answer. He's small. I'm going to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change,
diaspora wars. The internet has been swarmed. Who has a right to blackness and black culture? Who is overrepresented, underrepresented? It's too much. It's making us dizzy.
We don't have to be prideful without this air of superiority, right? All stories matter within this black sphere that we exist in.
Only on The Other Side of Change on the Black Star Network.
Next on The Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The United States is the most dangerous place for a woman to give birth among all industrialized nations on the planet. Think about that for a second. That's not all. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in this country during childbirth than white women.
These healthcare systems are inherently racist. There are a lot of white supremacist ideas and mythologies around black women's bodies, even black people, that we experience painless, right?
Activist, organizer, and fearless freedom fighter Monifa Akinwole Bandele from Moms Rising joins us and tells us this shocking phenomenon, like so much else, is rooted in unadulterated racism. And that's just one of her fights. Monifa Bandele on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Paula J. Parker. Truly proud on the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder on Disney+. And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, let's bring my panel right now. Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA, joining us from Washington, D.C. Randy Bryant, entrepreneur, author, speaker from D.C. as well. Joe Richardson, civil rights attorney out of Los Angeles. Glad to have all 3 of y'all here. Mustafa, I'll start with you. It's abundantly clear what we're seeing here. We know what's going on. This is Donald Trump trying to play the strong man. This is Donald Trump trying to say, I'm tough. That's all this is. It's for show. This is about distracting from Jeffrey Epstein. That's all this is about.
Yeah, and I wrote about it actually yesterday. You can check it out on Word in Black. But it is also about the erasure of self-determination. You know, it is about taxation without representation, which has always been an issue that folks in the district have had to deal with. You know, it's interesting when you have these individuals who have spent no time in D.C., real D.C., right? Not just on Capitol Hill, but actually spending time walking in communities and talking to communities about their sets of experiences and the beauty that exists inside of Washington, D.C. Now, I know what I'm talking about because I actually wrote a bill before for Bobby Rush, me and John Marshall, on how do you actually lower crime? How do you lower gun violence? And you hit it on the head, Roland, because it is about education, it's about housing, it is about transit, it is about healthcare, and it is about jobs. So when you cut those programs, you are making sure that you are creating a chaotic situation. You are trying to fuel the narrative, that false narrative that he continues to push forward on. So everybody should really be very clear about what this game is. If you want to, you can come to my neighborhood. You can watch. I live east of the river. There are white folks and black folks pushing their children around and, across the community. You see people actually out walking and jogging, at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night who have no problems whatsoever. So, yes, there are those pockets of challenges that exist inside of D.C. But if you were serious, let me say it again, if you were serious about addressing those challenges, you would sit down with the mayor and ask the mayor, what are the things that have been working? Because you have been able to lower the incidence of violence, and what have been the challenges? And then work with your folks on Capitol Hill to make sure that the resources that are necessary to address what the gaps are. But when you're not serious, then you just demonize the city, you demonize the leadership that is there, so that as once again, you can continue to erase the self-determination that folks have been working so diligently to have in place.
Well, they're not serious, Randy.
Well, they're not serious because they are looking to see how many Black people they can put away. You spoke earlier about why are they not looking at, and it's because they see Black people as criminals. When white people commit crime, they see them as a white person who committed a crime. But they see Black people as just criminals when they do demonize us. And so it's not about giving us programs that prevent crimes, creating programs that get kids off the streets and give them something to do. It is about how can we get them in jail. I think we have to want to round up our people.
Joe, they, of course, put National Guard troops in Los Angeles. They claimed success. All they did was sit around, frankly, most of the time. But people need to understand what the whole goal here. This is, I'm the strong guy. I'm the big guy. This is how I'm running the whole show. It's all a farce.
And for them, it's about being, quote, tough on crime, but that's low-hanging fruit. It wins elections. The public is very, very forgiving, even when you get it wrong. The crime bill got it wrong. So many things got it wrong. You over-police, you over-jail, you privatize prisons, and all of these other things, all of the above. And people almost never suffer political consequences because of it. They came out to L.A., they did their thing. They basically guarded the 2 federal buildings and pretty much nothing else. And fortunately, that seems to be going the way it needs to be in the courts. Washington, D.C., because, to Mustafa's point, because of the lack of taxation without representation, you have to go through a little bit of a different window legally, but still there's an argument that under Section 740 of the Home Rule Act, this is not an emergency condition, particularly when you're in a situation where crime is down. But again, and you've got violence down in general, you've got specific crimes down, specific violent crimes down. Again, it's about creating this narrative, making it into something that it's not, so that people can once again be distracted. And there's an irony with this too, because a lot of times these guys, are about self-determination and home rule, and you guys handle your own or whatever else. Well, here they are trying to handle their own, and now you're stepping into it and doing something else. Baltimore is a great bellwether for what can happen when you actually put seeds in the ground. Put seeds in the ground of prevention, et cetera. And what he's got to be reminded of is that this actually is supposed to help even the police that you say that you care so much about. Because ultimately, if there's more prevention, you're going to have a safer community, and that's going to keep even our law enforcement officers safer. They really think they can come in town, do what they want to do with no seeds planted, with no seeds of goodwill planted, deposited, and now you make a withdrawal. All you're going to do is create chaos and conflict. And at the end of the day, my final irony is that, of many, is that Trump is able to come in and do what he needs to do and employ the National Guard here, but he didn't find a way to do it on January the 6th.
Oh, yeah, that was just so hard. I didn't have the authority, but all of a sudden he has the authority. All right, y'all, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a break. We come back. Y'all, now, y'all already know I think Will Cain is one of the dumbest people on TV. But, man, did he prove it today. We're going to talk about what's happening in Texas when it comes to redistricting. But at the top of the hour, we're going to talk with Texas State Senator Boris Miles, one of the 2 African-Americans in the state Senate. But, man, when I show y'all this dumb interview on Fox News and how he just got owned, if I was at Fox, I would say, we actually paying this boy? Because obviously he don't do no reading. Wait till I show y'all. Folks, support the work that we do. Join the Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars are critically important for the work that we do. You want to support our work, please, we want to give you a Cash App. Go use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Click the Cash App button to contribute. Check some money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie. We're talking about leveling up, or to put it another way, living your very best life. How to take a bold step forward that'll rock your world.
Leveling up is different for everybody. You know, I think we fall into this trap, which often gets us stuck because we're looking at someone else's level up journey, what leveling up means to them. For some, it might be a business venture. For some, it might be a relationship situation, but it's different for everybody.
It's all a part of A Balanced Life. That's next on Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the Gap and Getting Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The United States is the most dangerous place for a woman to give birth among all industrialized nations on the planet. Think about that for a second. That's not all. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in this country during childbirth than white women.
These healthcare systems are inherently racist. There are a lot of white supremacist ideas and mythologies around Black women's bodies, even Black people, that we experience pain less, right?
Activist, organizer, and fearless freedom fighter Monifa Akinwole Bandele from Moms Rising joins us and tells us this shocking phenomenon, like so much else, is rooted in unadulterated racism. And that's just one of her fights. Monifa Bandele on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
This week on the other side of change.
Diaspora wars. The internet has been swarmed. Who has a right to Blackness and Black culture? Who is overrepresented, underrepresented? It's too much. It's making us dizzy.
We don't have to be prideful without this air of superiority, right? All stories matter within this Black sphere that we exist in.
Only on the other side of change on the Black Star Network.
I am Tommy Davidson. I play Oscar on Proud Family, Louder and Prouder.
Right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
I need to prepare y'all for a level of stupidity that you don't often see. So Will Cain, who claims to be a lawyer, University of Texas at Austin graduate, hosts a show on Fox News at 4 o'clock. So he decided to interview today Texas State Representative James Tallarico to talk about redistricting in Texas, really the racist gerrymandering going on in Texas. That boy ain't bright, y'all. So let me just go ahead and play this interview for y'all. And if you want to see an example of somebody just getting owned, just outclassed, yeah, that was Will Kane. Watch this, y'all.
In the state of Illinois. It is Texas State Representative James Tallarico. Congressman, thank you so much, or Representative, thank you so much for being with us here today. Glad to see you packed your Texas flag with you. Wish you were right back here down between the Red River and Rio Grande, where I sit today. But I have had the pleasure to talk with several of your colleagues, Michaela Plisa, Ramon Romero. So I know very well at this point, Representative, why you guys have fled. I hear your rationale. I hear your justifications. I would love together to really just talk for a minute about how this is all being funded. You know, you've racked up fines. I assume you're in a hotel room. I'm not sure where you are in Illinois. You know, you've got different costs racking up.
I'm talking about costs is stupid. Go back to it. Pull it up.
Of rigging elections clearly in California and New York.
Both of those efforts in those blue states are contingent on if Texas decides to cheat, if Texas Republicans decide to draw these maps in the middle of the decade at the request of the most powerful man in the country.
So
Again, those
you
are
rigged
two
in response to
factors,
something you call rigging. You cheat in response to something you think is cheating.
I'm trying to listen to you, and I'd love for you to try to give me a chance to speak. You know, I think that all of us should be alarmed, whether we're Democrats, independents, or Republicans, if the most powerful politician in the country, whether it's President Trump or President Obama, if they are trying to change the rules midway through the decade so that they don't have to face accountability for their actions. What I would ask you is, if Republican policies are so popular, why do they have to redraw the maps before the election?
Well, my answer to that would be a reflection of political popularity is the number of offices you win and the majority that you enjoy. And right now, Representative, you are a distinct minority in the state of Texas. Your points of view are...
That's a lie. First of all, 61% of Texas is a minority. Latino, Black, Asian American, Native American. It's 39% white. And the reality is all of Texas, see, this is where Will Kane is a liar. He's a flat out liar, okay? Harris County, the largest county in Texas. There's more people in the Harris County than some states in America. That's a blue county. Dallas County, second largest county, blue. Bexar County, blue. Travis County, blue. Of the top 5 counties in Texas, only Tarrant County is still red. So what Will Kane said there is a lie. And the seats that Republicans are trying to steal are seats that are based where? Harris County, Dallas County, Bexar County, Travis County. So right there, Will Kane lies. So he wants to say, oh, the political ideology across the state, well, that's the rest of the state. But the seats they're going after, those are blue counties and blue voters. That's the first Will Kane lie. Let's continue.
Extremely in the minority. And that is a privilege of the majority. You know, you talk about the president, and the left loves to lay everything at the president's feet because he's become your boogeyman. But this has been driven by the Texas representation in the state legislature. This has been driven by the governor of the state of Texas. Again, a Republican.
Okay, all right. He lies again. Right now, Will Kane is lying. And when I say lying, Will Kane is absolutely lying right now. This was a letter that the Trump Department of Justice sent to Texas, telling them that congressional districts 9, 18, 29, and 33, they believe were unconstitutional coalition districts. This was the basis of which Texas Governor Greg Abbott called for the special session to redraw the lines. Now, mind you, Republicans have defended the existing maps by saying that when they redrew them in 2021, they were not racially driven. Will Kane wants to say, oh no, they're redrawing the districts mid-census because the politics has changed. The person driving this Republican governor, he's also lying. This is the, we showed him before, this is the actual proclamation Governor Greg Abbott signed calling for a special session. What does it say? Legislation that provides a revised congressional redistricting plan in light of constitutional concerns raised by the U.S. Department of Justice. So, Will, you're lying again. This is the second time you lied in less than a minute. This process has nothing to do with the redrawing the maps because of political wins. No, it's because Donald Trump said, I need 5 new seats. They concocted this unconstitutional crap. Abbott used that as the basis to call the special session, and they're targeting blue counties. That's 2 lies, Will Cain.
Represents the majority opinion. You've done something that you say is constitutional, which I would suggest is pretty radical, leaving your office, abandoning your office, in defense of a minority point of view.
Will Cain is supposedly a lawyer. Will Cain is supposedly a native Texan. Will Cain graduated from the University of Texas at Austin. They claim the flagship school. I disagree. I'm a Texas A&M graduate. Anybody can do basic research would know that the Texas Constitution literally allows for what Democrats are doing to be done. It was first done in 1870. What the hell are you talking about, Will? This is something that I think is radical. And that you think is constitutional. It is. It's literally allowed in the Texas Constitution. Are you so dumb, Will Cain, you don't know how to Google? Third lie. Let's continue.
Has the majority. It's a little bit like taking your basketball and going home when you don't like the way it's played, but when you're winning in Illinois, you're happy to play by these rules.
Again, I've condemned all gerrymandering across the country. And in fact, when Democrats had a majority in Congress, they voted to ban gerrymandering in every state, red states and blue states. Do you know how many Republican members of Congress joined them in that effort?
Which one? I'm sorry, which state did you just refer to?
Will, you only have one guest. Are you not listening? Are you literally not listening to what he said? I'm sorry, which state? He's talking about in Congress, Will. And if you did your research on the topic, your silly ass would know. Geez, if you're gonna be a national show host, you need more than a good head of hair in order to do the job, Will. Let me take y'all back to this farce of an interview.
Do you know how many Republicans joined Democrats in the U.S. Congress to ban gerrymandering? All the Democrats voted for it. 0 Republicans voted for it. 0.
It's an odd.
So you can spare me the both sides rhetoric. It's clearly one side that is trying to rig the rules in the middle of the game. This is like 2 football teams coming out of the locker room at halftime, and the team that's ahead says they want to change the rules for the second half so they can win the game. All of us would be throwing food at the TV if that happened. We don't accept cheating in our politics. We don't accept cheating in our relationships. We shouldn't accept cheating in our elections.
I appreciate whatever you just referred to about the number of Democrat congressmen that I'm unfamiliar with who made this against.
God. It literally has been talked about ad nauseum for 2 weeks. What the hell have you been doing? Focusing on a joke of your Dallas Cowboys, Will Cain? Jeez, this is so stupid, y'all. Well, I appreciate you bringing. I wasn't aware of those things. I wasn't aware that the Democrats had done those things. I don't necessarily think that's germane. Y'all, he literally said every Democrat voted to end gerrymandering across the country. not a single Republican voted for it. Do you see Will Cain calling out the Republicans for not voting for it? No, you don't. What you see is somebody who's sitting here who's a TV version of Ken the Barbie doll. I don't know. I wasn't aware of those things. Let me go back to this stupid ass interview.
Republican congressman to oppose
politics. We don't accept cheating in our relationships. We shouldn't accept cheating in our elections.
I appreciate whatever you just referred to about the number of Democrat congressmen that I'm unfamiliar with who made this against Republican congressmen who opposed it. It just kind of flies in the face of reality when I look at the state of Massachusetts, where Donald Trump gets 35% of the votes, and there are 0 Republican representatives from the state
and who
of
signed that map in Massachusetts?
And so what I'm curious about is words say one thing and actions do something else in a place like Massachusetts. So you can't refer to random words and actions to me when I see the evidence in these states. Look,
well, you just
in my view, Representative, you gave the ball game analogy. In my view, what has happened here is you've done something in certain states and you don't like it when it's done in Republican states. And now you're saying you've done the same thing as us. You've done the same thing as us, and we are going to, by the way, if you do it, we're going to ratchet it up even more, in the words of Gavin Newsom.
My party has never gerrymandered in the middle of the decade at the request of the President of the United States, nor would we. The only way this is going to happen in blue states is if Texas executes this power grab. You mentioned Massachusetts. Right. Do you know the party of the governor that signed that map into law? He was a Republican. It was a Republican governor that signed that map into law. So I just want to be clear with our facts.
Oh my God! Did y'all see that dumbass? Who the governor? Y'all, Will, go do some homework, dude. This is why I used to kick your ass all the time on CNN. See, you're one of those white guys, conservative, y'all just come out there and y'all just wing it. Don't do, Glenn Beck, same way. I used to kick his ass. Don't do any research. Don't do any studying. Do nothing, and you're sitting there like, what? It was a Republican governor in Massachusetts who signed that? Yep, sure was. Y'all didn't see that perplexed look on his face? Like, I can't follow you. What the hell? Talk about being a total idiot and just no idea. I need to see that look again. Please go back.
The only way this is going to happen in blue states is if Texas executes this power grab. You mentioned Massachusetts. Right. Do you know the party of the governor that signed that map into law? He was a Republican. It was a Republican governor that signed that map into law. So I just want to be clear with our facts, and I don't want to muddy the waters. All of us, whether we're Democrats, independents, or Republicans, we should stand up to politicians who don't want to face accountability at the ballot box. That's exactly what's happening here. And I asked you, if Republican policies are popular, why do they need to redraw these maps? Why can't they just run on their policies?
I'm getting wrapped on time. I'm enjoying this conversation. I want to let it go on, and I apologize. That's such is the nature of cable television, but I don't want to leave this conversation without that loose end tied up. The funding. Are you currently getting money from the Texas Majority PAC?
Right there. See, he owned your dumb ass on so many points. You lied about 3 things, Will, and now you want to try to go back to the funding. This is the stupidity we see, Randy. And this is why Fox News viewers are dumb, because they've got dumb hosts who don't tell them the truth, who lie to them, and then they go, boy, that Will, he was on top of it, when he wasn't.
Right. They depend on their audience being not knowledgeable. And I love the fact that there were facts being dropped. And Dean could not handle those facts. And so he kept trying to change the subject. No, don't pay attention to facts. Look this way. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the funding. And hit after hit, he was being dropped facts. And they can't handle that, because the fact of the matter is that they are cheating in order to trying to change the maps specifically so that they can win. The order of the president.
And that was
undeniable.
That was just awful to watch, Joe. And again, you saw how utterly clueless Will was when he didn't even know basic facts. That here he is complaining about Democratic gerrymandering, and Tallarico says, "Hey, we all voted to get rid of gerrymandering. Your party didn't." And he's like, "What? I'm not familiar with that."
You know, Tallarico's a real one. I like him a lot. I don't know how much you've seen him talk about the hypocrisy of Christians coming from the standpoint of
a lot.
You know, he's fantastic at that, and he's super smart, and he's thoughtful, and he's researched. So he was gonna eat Will Cain up, like, you know, big time. And so you saw that Will Cain went and took the exit ramp on his own show. So he got dogged in his own situation. So, you know, it's an interesting thing. You know, what they learned to do is, you know, just kind of fake it till you make it, fake the funk, you know, talk a bunch of stuff, and hang in there. And even they don't do it as well as the president does. The president is wrong about a lot of stuff, doesn't believe in facts either, or whatever else. But he gets further with it, whether he should or not. But Will Cain and them, they think that they're Donald Trump or something, and so they, even in their own show, even in their own domain, they say what it is that they say. But it's fine unless and until they come up with somebody with actual facts. And so therefore, that's why you have what you have, and it's actually pretty enjoyable to watch.
It was a joke, but again, Mustafa, that audience is lied to it constantly, and that's why they walk around like dunces, and that's why they believe anything that idiot Trump says.
Yeah, they continually are fed disinformation and misinformation. And unfortunately, you know, that becomes a part of, you know, how they see the world, how they interact with the world, how they vote, instead of taking a very informed decision, doing their own research and making sure that they're making the best decisions that are possible, you know, for our country, actually. You know, we got to get to a point where we're talking about fair maps, right? There's the fair maps movement that's out there. That's where the conversation should be, because it's about transparency. It's about accountability. It's about making sure that communities are represented, and that their voices matter. And it's about no gerrymandering, because if we don't do that, we're going to continue to see these fractures across our country. We got to find people getting together and actually creating maps that are true, that are authentic, and that represent the will of the people. But right now, big money in the situation. You have these false media folks who are out there who's stopping us from actually being able to have a true democracy in our country.
Well, bottom line is, this is what they do, and it's going to continue. Folks, we're going to stay on this topic. Today, the Texas Senate passed the maps. 9 of the 11 Senate Democrats walked out, and this is the video of them walking out, single file line, as they voted. As I said, 2 hung back. One of those folks who walked out is Texas State Senator Boris Miles. He's one of 2 African Americans in the state Senate there in Texas. And he joins us right now. But before I do, I want to play this here because this was in one of the hearings, and he really cut to the chase about what's going on in Texas. And he said this directly to these white conservatives in their face. Listen.
And let me say this. Packing black folks into one district and reducing their ability to have representation from 2 to 1, and then hiding behind the premises, we are keeping Barbara Jordan's seat intact. And if you're doing us a favor, this is disrespectful, it's very much disingenuous, and point blank low down. Think that minority communities can take, if you think that minority communities must take, and what we can get is discriminatory, you do not have to call someone a racist slur to be a racist, Mr. Chairman and members. Sitting back participating in an august process, in an inherently discriminatory process, disenfranchising black and brown people is racist in all parts. For those of us watching this from out of state, just know, as Texas goes, the country's gonna go. Texas may be the first to be redistrict or rig district, but your state is next.
Now is Senator Boris Miles. Glad to have my frat brother here. How you doing, Doc?
What's going on, Brother Martin?
You know, first of all, you called it like you need to call it. It is racist, what they're doing. These are racist gerrymandered maps. They specifically are targeting black folks, targeting Latino. And here's I played that interview with Will Kane, and here's what is so amazing with these idiots. He wants to talk about, how the state has changed and, and how they don't agree with your politics. And as I said, wait a minute, Harris County blue, Dallas County blue, Bexar County blue, Travis County blue, and where are the seats they targeting? Harris County, Dallas County, Travis County, Bexar County. So those counties, where those congressional districts are, they are not aligned politically with Donald Trump, but the Republicans want to force those districts to actually be Republican.
And not to mention, Brother Martin, not to mention the population of Texas has grown in the minorities, African American and Hispanic. So if that be the case, shouldn't we have more representation and not less representation?
Well, you had Greg Abbott, who goes on Fox to say, oh no, we're creating 5 Hispanic districts.
Brother Martin, I think all of your listeners understand what the hell is going on here in Texas, okay? It is not, I don't call it redistricting, I've coined it rigged districting. It's rigged districting to keep Donald Trump and his administration in office, being carried out by the Texas governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. That is rigged districting, and it is racist to the ultimate factor.
Explain to the audience, because I read one story that said if all 11 of you had walked out, they could not have passed the bill.
Unfortunately.
Why did 2 stay back? Explain that.
You know, we had to have 2 there to call the questions and ask the questions. You know, 2 of our senior members have decided, and we don't judge, we don't harm them, we don't, harass them. I respect their decisions, but we did have to have 2 of our Democratic members sit there to call the question.
Explain that. What does that mean to the regular person?
Somebody from the Democratic Party had to be there.
But if all of 11 of y'all had walked out, they could not have passed the bill.
That is correct. But all 11 of us was not going to walk out. If all 11 of us walked out, we probably could have stopped and had a quorum break. But all 11 of us chose not to walk out. And those 2 that did not walk out, we have to respect their position.
Now, my understanding that one of those 2 was the same one who broke the quorum last time. So
I can't speak to that. I wasn't around in the last quorum, Brother Martin.
Okay, so so this is the question that the public asks. Man, if Democrats, listen, you're going to lose. I mean, like, you literally know you're going to lose. So if you have an opportunity to stop from losing, why not stop from losing?
Again, Brother Martin, I respect the 2 who made the decision, and I can't speak to the last walkout because I was not part of that. All I can do is show leadership in what I have done and walking out and not taking the vote. And even in the committee hearing, I didn't take the vote.
I had one of the House reps on last week, and he said, eventually, we're going to have to go back and to fight this out. And I'm looking at him going, you're going to lose. I mean, we know what happened the previous time. And my argument to him was, hey, if you have to sit out for 4 months, why not? Because we already laid out what's going to happen. If they pass this map, the filing deadline is in December. The Supreme Court is not going to rule that fast, so they're going to lock these maps in for the 2026 midterm elections. So Republicans will gain 5 seats. Lawsuits will be filed. This case may not be adjudicated even until the 2028 midterm elections, which means that even if they rule against Texas on this, they may have these 5 seats for the next 2 elections or the next 4 years. So in your mind, do you believe that Democrats should say on the House side, be steadfast and say, hey, hold out as long as possible to keep these maps from being passed, and if that means wait until December, so be it, because if you go back, they're gonna pass it in 3 minutes.
Brother Martin, it's easy to say in my mind what I would do. Yes. Okay? But you got to understand, these are individuals who have been, who are being threatened by the loss of their pensions, $500 a day fines. They have away from their families. It's very tough to say. Now, if you're asking me, would I stay out for 40 days? If all possible, I would. Because I do understand the ramifications of what's going to happen when these bills are passed. I do understand how this is going to affect not just Texas, but all the states across this country. I do understand the long-lasting effect that this is going to have. But it's just not that easy, Brother Martin. Trust me.
No, I understand. It's not easy.
And I want you to know, I want to say this. I fully support all the time my colleagues in the State House have spent out in whatever decision they make. But if it were me, I would love to have been able to stay out for the 40 days. Yes, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is not easy. Of course, it's not easy at all. It is a tremendous sacrifice. But the end result.
The end results are going to be disastrous for not just for Texas, but for the entire country. And they're going to be long lasting, as we all understand.
Absolutely. This is the map that was passed by the Texas Senate. I don't know if you could see it. But explain to folk. Okay, you can't see it on your end, but
I can't see it.
I got it. Okay, not a problem.
But I can tell you this, which I haven't heard you say.
Right.
This was a direct demand from the DOJ to focus on 5 minority districts. 5 minority districts, 3 of which in Harris County, 2 in Dallas. 3 of which are actually in or partially in Senate District 13. This is a direct, rogue, hostile attack on African Americans. You should also know this, Brother Martin, and you know this. For the last 25 years, Texas has attempted to suppress black votes in Texas, and they've lost at every turn in the legal battles. This is just another way of trying to suppress African American and some brown votes in Texas. Okay, this is a natural progression that always historically has gone through with Texas as it relates to African American voting. Now, what I always say, and what my response is, and what my response this morning was, they don't understand. They are doing nothing but kicking the bear, because these antics, these embarrassing, all these tactics will do nothing but hopefully wake up our people, because it's time to rise. It's time to get in reality, okay? And it's time to stand up and understand what's going on.
When we talk about what's happening here, and I did an interview earlier today, and I was asked, how do we respond? And I said very simply, Texas has more African-American eligible voters than any state in the country.
That's right.
When Beto O'Rourke ran against Greg Abbott, 75% of people 30 and under did not vote.
That's correct,
and the way to, and I said, the only way to defeat these heathens is you have to outvote them. The numbers are there, which means the state has to be organized and mobilized. Is that happening? Is the Texas Democratic Party, are black organizations, grassroots groups, are you seeing folk do that? Because it's one thing for people to say, hey, state Senate, black caucus in the House, man, y'all keep the good fight. But you gotta have folk vote. They can be beaten at the ballot box.
And the answer to your question is yes. Unfortunately, I am starting to see organizations, the churches, the Divine Nine, all black organizations calling on us, asking what it is that we can do to help. Now, may it be a little bit too late? That's to be determined. But I can guarantee you we will start preparing for the future, okay? And as I've told in in front of every camera that I've gotten into, do not let them win by rocking us to sleep. This should be the wake-up call for black Texans and for black America. This should be the wake-up call as they try to run the hands of time backwards on us. This should be the call as they try to suppress and pack all of us into 1 or 2 districts. This should be the call, Brother Martin, that we wake up and we rise up and we start to understand, from our elderly to our young folks, and get everybody registered. Not one of us has to go to the polls. We have to go in gangs, in families, in church bands. And don't misunderstand it. This is the time, this is our Edis Petman Bridge moment, as I coined that from Congressman Al Green. This is the moment we have to stand up. If not now, then when? If not who, then if not us, then who?
Questions for my panel. Joe, you first.
Senator, thanks for everything that you're doing. And just kind of building on what has been said here is that this should absolutely be the wake-up call, the Pettis Bridge moment, etc. But I wonder, do you feel in here like it is that moment? Does it feel different in terms of how people are responding to it? Are people really connecting and really understanding that really what we're trying to do is chase something down that's been going awry for a long time? They've been, making less voting spots for a long time in Harris County. They've been doing a lot of this, and this is a culmination. Does it feel different, like maybe people are really getting it and will embrace the urgency the way that they need to?
I feel that this moment right now is probably the best I've felt since I've been serving in 20 years. And brother, in 20 years, my motto has always been, as Brother Martin knows, keep our faith and keep our fight. This moment is the most exciting and exciting moment that I felt that we have had in 20 years. And we're doing everything we can to keep this moment going and growing faster. I get calls every day from different organizations, Brother Martin, from different people, from just brothers on the street. What can I do? What can I do? But unfortunately, because they have thought this through, because they have the numbers, because this is what I call the rigged redistricting, okay? And they have all the players in place, from the governor to the lieutenant governor to the attorney general and to the speaker of the House in Texas. And they've got the numbers. They've got the pure, sheer numbers. In Texas, I think that we may have to we're not going to stop until it's over. Please believe that, family. Please believe we're not going to stop until it's over. But to answer your question is, this is the most exciting time that I felt in 20 years. As a Democratic Party getting together, we've got to. You mentioned Tellerico. He's a bright in the future of Texas. We've got quite a few. Our chairwoman, Carol Everado. We're working hard. Royce West, as you know. And we're all working hard in Democratic Senate chambers, as well as in the House, to get this right on track, just to make sure that this is, we rise to the top at this moment. But it's difficult. It's difficult, Brother Martin, because they've been preparing for this moment much longer than we have.
Randy.
Senator Miles, thank you for being here. When I talk to people all of the time, the feedback I'm getting is they want to resist, they want to fight back. And of course, we know we need to vote, but what can we do now? You hear people talking about we're not going to buy beef because that will create some stress. And people, I don't know now, what can people do? Because I think people are desperate for information and can resist and fight back now.
Again, unfortunately, I don't have the answer for what it is that they can do now. They took the vote today. 9 of the 11 Senate Democrats walked out. The House, my House brothers and sisters have had it held up for, as you know, a couple of weeks now. It's my understanding that the Speaker of the House is going to go ahead and sine die on Friday, meaning that they're going to end this session, and the governor's going to call us right back the same day. I don't know how long my colleagues in the House can hold out. I can tell you that I'm going tomorrow to support them and try to lift them up in Chicago. If they can go another session, that's up to them. But to answer your question right now, sister, is what can we do now? I don't have that answer. I know what I can do as one of the 2 black senators in the House, in the Senate chambers. I cannot take that vote. I will not be a part of this sham. I will not be a part of them trying to suppress our black vote and steal our democracy from us.
Mustafa.
Yeah, well, Brother Senator Miles, thank you for everything you do. I think we often, when we have these political conversations and people talk about someone's vote being taken away or being suppressed, those types of things, they often don't take the conversation further of what is it that Black and brown folks are going to lose if this takes place. Could you sort of just share with folks basically what is it that folks are going to lose?
More importantly than anything else, we're going to lose our voices. We're going to lose justice. When I say our voices, I mean, they're going to take from having 2 Black congressional members in Harris County down to 1. They're going to pack us all into Congressional District 18. We're going to lose some of our economic bases in our communities because they're going to vote to strip those out. That's important. But what cannot...
Hold on. Senator Miles, but explain it to people. They literally are shifting major companies out of these Black Democratic congressional seats and moving them to Republican seats. That's what you're talking about when you talk about the economics.
That economic basis, not just companies, our educational institutions, our universities, Brother Martin. Those are important. Our healthcare centers. When they control the dollars that flow into those communities, that affects our economic basis. When they can control everything we all know on this line is controlled by the dollar bill. When they can control our dollar bills and which way they flow, those things control our communities. That's what I mean by economic basis.
Absolutely. Senator Miles, go ahead.
And those things are important. We've worked long and hard to improve our communities, and to put the resources that we need, the grocery stores, the pharmacies, all the type of things, the healthcare facilities. We've worked hard to make sure that we've worked over the years to get those in our communities. Now to come and strip them out and leave us barren and let us have food desert, healthcare desert, that's going to hurt our communities as we know them. And don't add the fact that now I'm going to touch some souls right here, that we're getting ready to have, vouchers. Okay? When you have vouchers in Black communities, that deteriorates our school bases. When you deteriorate our public school bases, that deteriorates our communities. We're proud of our high schools in our communities. We're proud of our schools in our communities. So everything that you see the Republicans doing right now, all this is to reverse the hands of time backwards on African Americans and Latinos.
Absolutely. Senator Boris Miles, keep up the good fight. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you, brother, what you do. And congratulations to your counselor. Thank you, brother.
Thanks a bunch. Folks, going to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
Getting this major artist like Snoop to be like, yeah, you're gonna be the flagship of Death Row Records is crazy. Because I'm like, okay. When he got the call, I was in the room. He was sealing the deal. It's done. And I was like, man, congratulations. I got me a drink. He rolled up, and we were sitting there talking, and I was like, oh man, I can't imagine how many rappers you're gonna have on this label. It's gonna be. He was like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, that's Death Row, Tupac, Suge, the whole look. And he's like, no, you're gonna be the flagship for it. You're gonna do it first. And I'm like,
you try. Well, look,
I'm R&B. Like,
right.
This Death Row's not R&B. He said it is now. He was like, I'll get rappers later. Don't worry about that, but I want you to take over. I'm like, oh, I was nervous. I was like, there's no way this is gonna work. People are, and of course you get a little backlash from, on the comment section, when he's posting about it. It's just like, he's R&B, that's not Death Row. And we had to slowly kind of get people acclimated to it.
This week on the other side of change.
Diaspora wars. The internet has been swarmed. Who has a right to Blackness and Black culture? Who is overrepresented, underrepresented? It's too much. It's making us dizzy.
We don't have to be prideful without this air of superiority, right? All stories matter within this Black sphere that we exist in.
Only on the other side of change on the Black Star Network.
This is Essence Atkins.
Mr. Love King of R&B, Raheem Devon.
It's me, Sherry Shepard, and you know what you're watching.
You're watching Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
Folks, our black and missing today, Samaya Ellis, 13 years old, was last seen in the 5200 block of D Street in southeast Washington, D.C. Sunday afternoon. She is described as a black female, 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighing 130 pounds, black and pink twist, and brown eyes. Last seen wearing a black crop top, black leggings, a pair of pink furry sandals, a pink purse, a pink book bag, and a pink scarf. If you've seen Samaya, of any information on her whereabouts, call the police at 202-576-6768, 202-576-6768. Well, the Department of Homeland Security, Indiana, are going to be housing folks who have been arrested in 1,000 state prison beds. That's right. To promote this, the DHS has posted AI-generated images of ICE-branded Indy cars. Yes, y'all, seriously. ICE-branded, come on. Can y'all please show the photo, please? Thank you. ICE-branded Indy cars speeding past a prison, imagery that sparked backlash from motorsports fans and IndyCar officials who demanded their branding be removed. DHS still hasn't addressed conditions inside these facilities. Similar state-run centers like Florida's so-called Alligator Alcatraz have faced allegations of maggot-infested food, filthy toilets, and unsafe living conditions. But the reality is, Mustafa, they don't care. They don't care living conditions. They want to make them as horrendous as possible because Donald Trump, he praises the prisons in El Salvador.
Yeah, again, it is about dehumanization. It is about devaluing life, devaluing liberty, devaluing values, all the things that you could put D in front of. That is what they continue to do. And of course, devaluing democracy. When you put these prisons that are already, there have been all kinds of environmental studies that have shown all various toxins that people who are incarcerated are dealing with. And then now you talk about putting them in swamps and other types of places. It just goes to show, one, you don't have no damn sense, but two, also that you just are creating these very chaotic situations. So I'm not surprised that they would utilize, the racing world, because they're also trying to speak to a certain, section of our culture that focuses and enjoys, whether it's stock car or Indy cars or whatever it might be. So again, they continually just pump this misinformation and disinformation and hate into the American populace, knowing that it is going to take hold with some folks. So I'm not surprised. I continue to be disappointed, but I also continue to understand that there are folks who are waking up and who are saying these are not our values and these are not the types of things that we want to be associated with.
Adam Sir made this point. He said, cruelty is the point. It was a piece in the Atlantic, Randy. And that is their deal because they know with their white base, they love the cruelty. Look, this just goes back. This goes back decades. This goes back to the 1800s. They don't care how awful you treat them. They're like, that's it, that's right, run them out of here. There's no sense of humanity at all.
None. Cruelty is the point, and they do not see Black and brown people as human, and we need to accept that. And they want to put us away and not see us, and they don't feel whatsoever bad about it. I think we keep trying to appeal to, and it's not there. It doesn't exist. They're what's going on and see it as somewhat of a game. And you see the way they're advertising with NASCAR, and they're trying to appeal to the people who are very much like, yeehaw, round them up and lock them up. And if this is not feeling reminiscent of Nazi Germany to people yet, I don't know what it's going to take. And I really want to stress that these immigrants are not getting due process. It's not as if they are criminals, that they've done something wrong that has been proven by the law. They've just are taking them and putting them away because they don't see them as worthwhile. They don't see them as humans, and they absolutely don't see them as Americans.
They don't mind, Joe, snatching people off the streets. Now we have numerous cases, Joe, of mistaken identity. A 15-year-old special needs kid, they pulled out weapons. He was just trying to help somebody register for school.
Yeah, and they're not worried about it. They're not worried about getting it wrong. They don't think that there's any price to pay for them getting it wrong. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, they, overlook people of a certain hue that have overstayed visas. That won't be the people that they find at the Home Depots, but they'll be people that they find at the bakeries, and that'll be at other places. Paul Mooney used to talk about the complexion for the protection, and that's exactly what it is that we're seeing. They don't care. Cruelty is the game and the objective. And meanwhile, in an irony, these cats are going to show up to church on time on Sunday. But I would say this. We've got a lot of work to do. There's no question about that. It's faith and works. But I would say that God is not pleased, nor is he mocked. So we have to continue to do what it is that we need to do and do our part and push hard, extract the passion, mimic the passion that we just saw from the senator from Texas, and do the things that we need to do so that we get the breakthrough that we need. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the reason why they're doing the things that they're doing is because they're beginning to be outnumbered. They're outnumbered in a lot of places. They're outnumbered in the state of California. They're outnumbered in the state of Texas. And their time is coming up. And so we've got to continue to facilitate that.
Now, we know Republicans, they were banning books. We know they are not smart. We know they cannot stand true history, not his story. They despise the 1619 Project. They launched this 1776, whatever the hell that was. Now the Wall Street Journal is reporting that ahead of next year, the United States celebrating the 250th anniversary of the founding of this country, not for black people, that they are going to be reviewing everything the Smithsonian produces so that it aligns with Donald Trump's view of history. That's right. So this is a piece that was in the Washington Post. The White House will launch a sweeping review of Smithsonian exhibitions, collections, and operations ahead of America's 250th birthday celebrations next year. The first time the Trump administration has detailed steps to scrutinize the institution, which officials say should reflect the president's call to restore, quote, truth and sanity to American history. The vetting process would include reviewing public-facing and online content, curatorial processes and guidelines, exhibition planning and collection use, according to a letter sent to Smithsonian Secretary Lonnie G. Bunch III on Tuesday. Now, a White House official confirmed the plan, which was posted on the White House website. And this is what the Smithsonian said. The Smithsonian's work is grounded in a deep commitment to scholarly excellence, rigorous research, and the accurate factual presentation of history. We are reviewing the letter with this commitment in mind and will continue to collaborate constructively with the White House, Congress, and our governing board of regents. Let's just be as clear as possible. Randy, they're going to rig the research. They're going to strip. You can forget any real talk about slavery, Jim Crow, or any of that stuff, Randy. It ain't gonna happen because these white folks don't want that. They want this to be a whitewashed history of America and a celebration. They do not want to deal with the inequities and the racism that black people, Latinos, Asian Americans, and others have faced in this country. They only want his story being presented.
Right. They are erasing history so they can repeat history. They are wanting themselves to be the only heroes in this country. Truly believed in Christopher Columbus, that they were the land that was already here. They are a people who taught us that we were slaved and not real people who were enslaved. They found a way to make themselves the heroes when they kidnapped, raped, brutalized a people. They still found a way to make themselves the heroes. And that's what they're doing again. I mean, you look at the way they now represent as if it was a celebration, a huge barbecue that they were.
Yep.
They want history to put them in light. and in a beautiful light.
Well,
They want to go back and do it.
Well, it's right here. It's right here, Joe. Y'all go to my iPad. The letter states that the initial review will focus on 8 museums: the National Museum of American History, the National Museum of Natural History, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, the National Museum of the American Indian, the National Air and Space Museum, the Smithsonian American Art Museum, the National Portrait Gallery, and the Hirshhorn Museum and Sculpture Garden. To begin the process, officials requested that the museums provide information within 30 days concerning 250th anniversary programming, current and future exhibition content, and other material. The White House added that museums were expected to start making changes within 120 days. This is the language right here, Joe. Museums should begin implementing content corrections where necessary, replacing divisive or ideologically driven language with unifying, historically accurate, and constructive descriptions across placards, wall didactics, digital displays, and other public-facing materials, the letter read. Joe, they want to whitewash the history.
Yeah, and there's no concern about the truth, and that's why they didn't say the word truth. That would have been entirely too strong. And in another irony, well, a couple of them, Donald Trump is talking about this being historically accurate and talking about being unifying. I forget what word he used, but he's the most divisive figure in this whole situation. And then here's the other thing. He doesn't know any history, good or bad. He got some folks around him that'll say some things, but he can't sit and have a conversation about history. He doesn't understand American history at all. And so he wants to, create this narrative, push this narrative forward, whitewash history, roll things all the way back, which is what he wants to do, because I'm skipping across the field because he's jealous of Barack Obama. I mean, come on now. Now he wants to get rid of it all. Get rid of it all. Throw out the baby with the bathwater. Don't tell the truth. It's all about my truth. But underlying that, what people really need to understand, people that support this man, you got to really understand that he doesn't think very much of you at all. He really believes that the people that support him are stupid. That's why he can talk about Epstein and create the whole QAnon phenomenon fundamentally. So people still showing up at the pizza parlor looking for the basement like it's Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and then tell the same people that there's no list and to look away from it and expect them to do it. Now, he's not having success so far, but actually have an expectation that they'll turn on a dime just because he told them to. That just lets you know how little he thinks of the people that supposedly support him. So it's an interesting time indeed, and it's going to be interesting to see how all of that shapes up, because ultimately this is going to have to stop somewhere. There's going to be some mistakes made somewhere, and you're seeing it with the Jeffrey Epstein thing. And did I already say Jeffrey Epstein? I meant to say that. I meant to say it again. Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we need to be talking about.
What gets me here, real simple, Mustafa, is next year, historically, it's going to be a joke. I mean, they are going to whitewash the hell out of this, and so we might as well just go ahead prepared. And I'm just real clear. Next year's celebration, it ain't about us. That's going to be Donald Trump's celebration of white America.
And they're going to use your tax dollars to do it. Let me say that again. And they're going to use your tax dollars. Here's the thing, is that we know what their plan is, because it is the same playbook over and over again. In my mind, when you understand the opponent, then you have to make sure that you're going to do some things that are going to balance that out or help to make sure that folks actually understand what the truth is. So for me, it's about flooding the gate. You flood the gate with the Black Star Network and others who are willing to make sure that we are pushing forward all the greatness that exists inside of the Black community. Everybody from Frederick Douglass all the way up, sharing with folks who maybe had never heard the stories before about how they have contributed to this country, how they built this country, how they made this country stronger. So we don't have to just sit back and take it, but we do have to be strategic about how we're going to share information. For everybody who gets excited online when somebody's twerking, why don't you take some time with your social media platform and also share some information about whether it's somebody in your family or someone who folks may know of, about, their creativity and how they've actually helped to make not only our community stronger and better, but this country. That's how you deal with these situations, along with if there's any legal recourse, and holding these people accountable who are using our dollars. Normally, I would tell folks to focus on Title VI of the Civil Rights, but we know the Department of Justice and others are not going to do anything in that space. So we have to take it in our own hands to make sure that we are sharing the stories and the narratives that are a part of this country.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, folks, gonna go to break. We come back. Our Shop Black Star Network Marketplace segment will be up next. Look forward to that. Hey, folks, don't forget, you want to support the work that we do, join our Bring the Funk fan club. Listen, our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. It goes to support everything we do here at the Black Star Network, all of our shows. The money is reinvested in what we do, and so if you want to support us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Click the Cash App button to contribute. Checks in money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the Gap and Getting Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
This week on the other side of change,
diaspora wars. The internet has been swarmed. Who has a right to Blackness and Black culture? Who is overrepresented, underrepresented? It's too much. It's making us dizzy.
We don't have to be prideful without this air of superiority, right? All stories matter within this Black sphere that we exist in.
Only on the other side of change on the Black Star Network.
Me, Sherry Shepard, with Sammy Roman.
I'm Dr. Robin B., pharmacist and fitness coach, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, my next guest in 2009 launched the Beauty Stat blog to demystify skincare ingredients through what he called a factual, science-based lens. After years of research, Ron Robinson developed a breakthrough technology to stabilize and formulate pure vitamin C. What began as a blog is now a full skincare line. BeautyStat offers science-driven products trusted by consumers and professionals alike. Ron Jones is right now. Ron, how you doing?
It's so great to be here. I'm a big fan.
Appreciate it. So, what got you started in just studying skincare and vitamin C?
Great question. Totally fell into it. So my parents wanted me to be a doctor, didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went to med school, did really well in school, but decided it was not for me. So I dropped out of med school. And
I bet that didn't go over well at home.
Not at all. My parents were really, really disappointed. They're like, you're a bum. What are you going to do with your life? So I sent out resumes and I was hired as a cosmetic chemist for Clinique 35 years ago. And that's how I fell into the world of developing skincare products that deliver results.
So you go to med school, you drop out, and then you get hired as a cosmetic chemist at Clinique.
Yes.
So what did the parents say when you got the job?
Okay. They were like, okay, what is a cosmetic chemist? Until a few months after working on the job, I brought my mom home some of the skincare products that I was developing. And Roland, she was so excited. She was like, oh my gosh, give me those samples. She dove in the bag. And at that moment, I was completely forgiven. And she was like, go ahead, do your cosmetic chemist thing. Just bring me home products.
Okay, that was your mama.
That was my mom. And my dad just went along with it. So he was cool.
Oh, so yeah, mama got some free products. And he was like, yeah, we all right. Okay, so you're there 35 years. And so in that time span, what are you doing? What are you learning that eventually brings you to this blog?
Yeah, so worked for a lot of big brands after working at Clinique, and I always was fascinated with the ingredient vitamin C. Vitamin C is a great ingredient for the skin, but it's notoriously unstable. So what that means is that it tends to oxidize, turn brown, stop working. So I found a way to encapsulate pure vitamin C and keep it stable. And our best-selling product is our vitamin C serum, this one right here. Multiple years in development, multiple patents. And Roland, this product works to even out skin tone and fade hyperpigmentation, which is a big concern among a lot of consumers of color.
So let me just give you an example. Okay, so can you see me? You can see me, right?
No, I cannot see you.
I got you. You must be on FaceTime. Okay, so
yes, FaceTime. Yes.
All right, so here's the deal. So I play lots of golf. All right.
Okay.
So, and I wear baseball caps. So literally in the middle of my forehead is basically you can see the line of demarcation where the top is lighter than the lower part. And so when you talk about that product, would that product help with that?
Yes, it's going to help even out skin tone.
Got it.
And any hyperpigmentation, which is a big concern. You know, when you're looking in the mirror, if you see yourself on camera in a selfie, and if you're unhappy with your skin tone, if you wish it was more even and you could fade that hyperpigmentation, BeautyStat has you. Our vitamin C serum, this is award-winning, multiple patents, great clinical testing and before and after photos that show that this product delivers results.
So what, okay, so all right, so here's another example. So I play lots of golf. I'm also from Houston. And when you're from Houston, you got mosquitoes. And man, when mosquitoes attack, you're itching or whatever, all of a sudden you have these different dark spots. So which one of your products deals with that? Is that the same product that deals with that?
Same product. In any issue around hyperpigmentation, whether that's scars from mosquito bites, acne scars, shaving scars, this product has got you. This product will help even out your skin tone, fade that hyperpigmentation, give you even brighter, smoother skin with great texture.
Okay, so we're going to go through, there are several products that you have, and I'm going to, so the one that you just were talking about there, which one is that called?
Okay, this is the Universal C Skin Refiner. This is our 20% pure patented stable vitamin C serum.
Got it. Okay, got it. I got that one here. That's the Universal C Skin Refiner.
Correct.
Okay, all right. What is Universal C Eye Perfector?
Great question. That's the eye cream. So in this product, this contains 5% pure vitamin C. This is going to work to depuff the eyes and reduce the dark circles under the eyes. So again, as we stay up late, we're stressed, we're looking for solutions, something that's going to clinically work to help even out those dark circles, smooth them out, make them look lighter, and just make your eyes brighter, refreshed, more wide awake. This product is the product.
All right. So what is the C-Lip serum?
Okay. Big thing now, consumers are finally understanding the need to wear sunscreen. They're wearing it on their face, but they're forgetting about their lips. This is a tinted lip treatment with mineral sunscreen SPF 30. So this is sheer. It's going to protect your lips. It's also going to hydrate. Some people complain of uneven skin tone around their lips too. Vitamin C is going to even out the skin tone around your lips, while the sunscreen works to protect your lips from the damaging UV rays.
Okay. The Universal Microbiome Barrier Balancing Cleanser.
Yes. Okay. This is your go-to cleanser. You want a gentle cleanser that's going to rid oil, dirt, debris. This cleanser is actually going to hydrate as it cleanses your skin, so you're not going to feel dry or tight. This works on all skin types, all skin tones.
When do you do that? In the morning or before you go to bed?
This every morning and before bed as well. You could use this twice a day.
Got it.
Clean skin. And then after this, you go in with your vitamin C serum.
Okay. The Triple Plump Coconut Milk Serum.
Yes, this is your serum if you're looking for extra hydration, a boost in glow. This contains all aspects of the coconut water, the coconut oil, the coconut juice. This is going to plump the skin, leave it juicy, soft, and hydrated. And you can see, I'm just going to show a little bit on my hands if you could see that. And again, this blends right in and it leaves a glow. You can see that my hands are glowing after applying that product. So that's our coconut milk serum.
All right, the Universal Triple Action Daily Peel.
Yes, everyone needs this for smoother skin. This is going to retexturize your skin. It's like a facial in a pad. So this is a individually wrapped pad, and you take it out of the packet, and it's drenched in hydroxy acids that are going to work to exfoliate the skin. I'm smoothing it over my skin right now, and look at that glow that my skin has.
How often do you use this? Daily?
Daily. It's safe enough for daily use.
So one sheet per day.
One sheet per day, and you're going to get smooth skin. You're going to look like you just walked out and had a facial.
All right. Peptide Wrinkle Relaxing Moisturizer.
Yeah, this is your moisturizer, Roland. For those of us that are a little bit more mature, if we're starting to see those expression lines and wrinkles, this is packed with peptides, which are going to soften the look of those wrinkles. So if you're afraid of needles, you're hesitant about spending all that money on injectable and Botox, this is Botox in a jar. This is going to help smooth out the skin, the forehead lines, the 11 lines.
So that's Botox without the shot in your forehead.
Exactly. This is Botox in a jar. It also leaves your skin hydrated, plump, and juicy as well.
Okay. Lastly, the Universal Pro Bio Moisture Boost Cream.
Okay, for those that have sensitive skin and skin that really needs like a blast of hydration in a gentle way.
Okay, first of all, what is a sensitive skin? Like, what is that? How do you know you got sensitive skin?
Okay, so great question. Sensitive skin, if your skin feels slightly irritated, a little bit itchy, and everything you apply to your skin feels itchy and irritating, this is the product you need that is going to repair your skin barrier, get it healthy, get it intact. This product drenches your skin in moisture. It really it soaks it in when you apply it and leaves your skin hydrated all day long. This is a must-have as well.
All right, questions? I know Randy got a bunch. You only get to ask one, Randy.
Hey, Randy.
How are you?
Good.
So happy to meet you.
You too.
Listen, I heard that vitamin C made our sunblock more powerful and useful. Is that true? So is it helpful on vitamin C first?
It is true. It works synergistically with sunscreen to actually boost the protection of both from free radicals as well as UV. So I'd like you to use our vitamin C serum in the morning and follow with your sunscreen to get the synergistic effect of protection from UV and free radicals, all those things that you face throughout the day. It's going to protect your skin.
Mustafa.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, well, thank you. This is a cool product, or set of products. You started the conversation talking about vitamin C as sort of the foundation
yes.
on some of your products. I'm curious, are most of your products organic? And then I know sometimes with products, when we get down to the binders, you as a chemist will understand what I mean, say when I'm talking about binders. We'll have other types of things that are often inside a product. So how organic or natural are your products?
We don't claim to be specifically organic or natural, and I'll tell you why. The key thing as a cosmetic chemist with a brand, a fast-growing brand like BeautyStat, I want products and ingredients that are safe and effective. It doesn't matter whether they're naturally derived or synthetic. As long as they're safe for use and effective and deliver results, those are the two things that I focus on. And again, some ingredients we might use are natural or natural derived, like the coconut we mentioned before, that's natural. But a lot of other ingredients we use are synthetic. Again, safety and performance, delivering results.
All right then, folks, if y'all want to check out BeautyStat, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Pull the website up, y'all. These are the products. If you go to the website, you'll see, you can simply scroll. You can check them all out. BeautyStat, all the products that we just covered, and there's 4, 5, 6, 7, there was 9 of them. They're all there on the website. Y'all check it out. And again, listen, the thing here, Ron, a lot of people don't think about, the skin is the largest organ. And a lot of folk just sort of ignore it. And, when we go out and people think that, I'm only going to be out for an hour, no need to put on sunscreen. But the reality is, you got to protect the skin.
You got to protect the largest organ. It's with you for life. You got to take care of it, and it'll take care of you.
All right, then. Again, y'all, BeautyStat, it's available. ShopBlackStarNetwork.com. All of the products on the website, Black-owned companies. We featured all of them on the show. You definitely want to check it out, folks. This is about us supporting our own. You can buy direct. Again, ShopBlackStarNetwork.com. Check out the products, the BeautyStat products. Right now, go to the website. Ron, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Roland, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Bye.
All right, thank you very much. All right, folks, we'll close the show, unfortunately, sad news, in memoriam. Danielle Spencer, so many of us knew her as Dee on What's Happening. She is now an ancestor. She, of course, died at 60 years old, long battle with cancer. Her co-star Haywood Nelson shared the heartbreaking news, calling her brilliant, loving, a pragmatic warrior. She joined What's Happening in 1976, later returning for the 80s sequel, What's Happening Now. Off-screen, Spencer survived a near-fatal car accident as a teen that left her in a coma, facing lifelong health challenges. But she actually went on to earn a veterinary degree, caring for animals in California and Virginia, and speaking out for animal rights. She also appeared in films such as Good as It Gets, had TV roles on Days of Our Lives. In 2014, was honored at the National Museum of African American History and Culture as the only Black female child star in its permanent exhibit. Danielle Spencer was 60 years old. All right, folks, that is it for us today's show. Let me thank Randy, Mustafa, and Joe for being on today's panel. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Glad to have y'all here. Folks, don't forget the work that we do every single day with this show, live 5 days a week. It's about informing you of the news that matters to our people, giving the focus, centering us as best as we can. Your support of us is critical. That if you want to support us, please do so by joining our Bring the Funk fan club, the giving via Stripe. Use the Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. And if you're listening, go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com to get that link to it. Also, checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Send it to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Don't forget, you can also, of course, get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available. Bookstores nationwide, get the audio version on Audible. Also, folks, if you want to get our Black Star Network Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. You see our T-shirts, FAFO 2025 with Project Crossed Out. Don't blame me, voted for the black woman. All of our gear right there on the website. QR code is there as well. To get our products, shopblackstarnetwork.com. All these black-owned products you see right here. We've had featured all these big people on the show. HBCU Legacy, the shirts, we got puzzles, leafy toilet paper, all kinds of stuff. Boom, y'all can get it right here. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Don't forget to download the app, Fanbase. And of course, if you want to invest in Fanbase, go to startengine.com/Fanbase. Y'all, that's it. I'll see y'all right here tomorrow. And shout out to our interns. Today's their last day working with us. It's been a brutal 10 weeks for them. Put them through boot camp, let them know what's going on, and I can guarantee you they're going back to college much better and faster in the ability to think more clearly than when they got here. So we appreciate, and again, y'all's support made that possible as well for us to have 5 interns over the last 10 weeks. Folks, that's it. I'll see you. Oh, by the way, and yes, I was elected NABJ Vice President Digital at our convention in Cleveland, and so glad for everybody's support. Thanks a bunch. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla!